Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to welcome you to a magnificent Monday. Also, another Mindfulness Monday later on. So I'm so excited. I got some dope guests in the building, y'all. I got Adam Powers in the building. We're going to be talking all about Qigong Labs, all the work that they're doing, and an upcoming event you want to know more about. And later on in the show, as I said, it's Mindfulness Monday, y'all. We missed it on the first Monday, so we had to bring it back with Heru TchaasAmen, a Qigong instructor who's going to be talking to us about the long-standing benefits of Qigong over time. So I'm so glad to have y'all joining us on this Monday. Of course, you know it is the top of the show, so it's a great time to tag and share the stream. Please share this stream with folks who you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness right here on The Day with Trae. And if you can't watch our TV show, we still got you covered, y'all. You can listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network, and you'll find us on whichever platform is your favorite. There's a bunch of them, so go ahead and search for us if you need to listen to us. Well, again, like I said, I'm really excited because this is going to be a great time I'm about to have with Adam Powers, who's up next telling us more about Qigong Labs. What's up, Adam?
Nothing much. Well, a lot.
A lot is up.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. It's sunny and beautiful, and we got the sun outside, so I'm feeling nice.
Good. Well, I had to talk to you because Qigong Labs is doing some phenomenal things. And before we kind of get into it, I want to hear about, your background a little bit. What got you into tech work? Looking at the way that you do it is very unique approach. Tell us more about your beginnings.
Okay. I guess Qigong Labs kind of started with me and my brothers. We had an idea of bringing emerging technology to underprivileged areas to help create self-sustainable communities. And that's just finding technology like solar panels, air-to-water generation, vertical gardening, all these different technologies that exist, but our community doesn't have access to. How can we bring it to the forefront and show that we have all the tools and resources we need to solve our own and be self-sustainable in that practice and just way of life? And this urge to build this nonprofit that we've been running and just building in the community for 7 years came from our uncle, who used to be military, and it was kind of tech before tech. He worked was dropped behind enemy lines to build cell phone towers. And he came and brought us the computers back in the day in the 90s where it still had the matrix green text on it. And he was teaching us how to code, and being 9 years old, just trying to figure out, why are we doing this? I'm not even sure what a computer is. I don't know what programming is. He's using all these terminologies, but 15 years later, we enter the world and we go into businesses, and we are more skilled at the computers and the programs and the operating systems, more so than the CEOs of the companies. Wow. And we realized that the things that my uncle implanted, and also my mother, she homeschooled me and my brothers. My dad been always working and supporting, but my mom was able to teach us and take us out of the school system to teach us how to think for ourselves, creative thinking. She used to be a teacher as well for 20 years in the Highline School District area, but she felt the need to implant certain information and skills that the schools were not teaching, and especially for young Black and African American students.
Yeah.
And then when I had my son, me and my brothers came together and talked about it and said, how can we give him what our uncle and our parents gave us? And that's where we decided to really develop an idea for a nonprofit that could bring whatever the community needed, and helping the community understand how the technology works, to have ownership over it, and to have equity in it. So that's what we've been doing for the last 7 years. And my educational journey, we were homeschooled, then we went to Pacific Middle School, then we went to Little Tommy Kennedy High School, and then went on to Atlanta for an HBCU at Clark Atlanta University, where we all got baseball scholarships.
Wow.
So we got to see not only different forms of education, but different cultures and understanding of education, whether it be a homeschool facility ran by my mom, or whether it be a public school or private, or an HBCU and a historically Black college. And what they implanted in us is what we're bringing out today for our community.
Well, this is really important. It's not only a unique, I'm glad you gave us all those details, because it's a unique background that got you to where you are today. And honestly, you're still dealing with emerging tech. And so how have y'all been able to make sure community members are abreast as to what you're looking to share with them and like educate them on?
Number one, going to the already existing community groups around those emerging techs, like an organization I'm a part of called BOSS, which stands for Black Owners of Solar Services, which is an international organization of Black owners of energy distribution companies. So they're nationwide and already working with the Department of Energy to make sure that our communities are accessing some of this Inflation Reduction Act fund and trillions of dollars coming from the Build Bipartisan Infrastructure Act to rebuild our electrical grid and rebuild our highways and our cities. But they're making sure that these federal government agencies and state agencies and private entities are adhering to the Justice 40 clause, which states that 40% of all that investment has to go to Black and brown and low to moderate income communities, which is historic because previously federal programs built around us, or in worst case, through our communities, without even hiring us to be part of that build. So that means not only did we lose equity in the housing and the land, but we also lost equity and opportunities for income in the jobs and contracts to build. And we're trying to make sure that this next infrastructure bill, this green boom that we're talking about, our community is not left out. And it's written that way, but we now have to, number one, let our community know about the opportunities. And number two, we have to be able to bring this up in those governmental contracts, making sure that Justice 40 requirements are being hit by all organizations. So they can't just get us onto the contract and then afterwards get awarded the $20 million and then drop our contractors off so that they can replace them. Because that's a loss of equity and economic empowerment once we have our people taking off those projects that we're dedicated and we're building within our communities. So we need to make sure that this opportunity goes all the way up. And I know that's jumped around in a couple of different areas.
But you explained partnership, which is obviously a key factor in how you're educating community, because you're saying we're partnering with these already existing groups that really allows for you to not only have to think about your own network, but the networks that are built there and partnering there. But it's also interesting too, because I think about the average Black household who, when we start talking about solar technology or green technology, folks are like, what are you talking about? So at the base level, getting folks to understand that and then building upon it seems like a good foundation and way to go. But there's also some really key benefits to community members being engaged, being involved and informed. Tell us more about the importance that y'all see in that regard when it comes to making sure we're not left out of this booming industry.
Yeah, and to your point, there are so many different levels. Yes, the federal government is dropping trillions of dollars into all communities, not just here in Washington, but across our country. And they're trying to affect our communities across the country. That's the top level. And then we can talk about who's going to do the work, meaning what contractors, what are our community contractors going to get the work, or is it going to go to someone else? Then we go lower to, okay, who's actually doing the job? Business might get the contract, but is our community and our 18-year-olds, 24, getting the opportunity to be electricians and have a work opportunity where they're using their hands to power and rebuild our community, because that's important too. And then we have to talk about the next level. What is solar? Why are we doing this? Where does energy come from now? What are we making a just transition to? And that comes down to that basic education of Solar 101.
Yeah.
And that's where Qtech focuses on that as well. We're focused on the full pipeline, but when it comes to that first step, we do STEM, solar, and green tech exposure programs. We go to schools for after-school programming where we bring little STEM toys and help explain what electricity is, what a solar panel is, 101. But we also host events like our upcoming event. It's called a Solar Punk Festival. Yeah. And it's really, the full title is the Burien Solar Punk Festival. And this takes place in an urban garden in Burien called Shark Garden, which I'm on the board of. And used to be a baseball field, a 1.6 acre baseball field that got converted into a garden, an urban garden that now produces 5,000 pounds of food that goes to the White Center Food Bank. But what we did was, with the help of a Black-owned solar company, Sphere Solar Energy, we put down a solar microgrid in the middle of that urban garden, which means 6 solar panels at 470 watts running into a battery of 9.6 kilowatts. So we created our own microgrid and energy grid that powers the land. So not only are we producing food, and now we're producing electricity, but with a little bit more support for some funding, which I'm looking for, then we're gonna put down what's called an air-to-water generator. And this air-to-water generator literally generates clean, drinkable water from the air. It works very similar to a dehumidifier, if you've ever had one. Takes the moisture out the air, but it goes through 2 extra steps. Taking that water and filtering it through charcoal filters and UV light, making it WHO World Health Organization definition of clean, drinkable water.
Wow.
And I also want to call out someone who's doing good work in that space. His name is Moses West, and he does the Moses West Foundation. And Moses West is an individual who's ex-Army Ranger, African-American man, and he built a large-scale shipping container size air-to-water generator that produces 2,000 liters of water a day. And he put one down in Flint, Michigan, and he put one down in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, and he's been putting these down in everywhere that they're having water issues to just say to people, no, we don't have water insecurity. We have opportunities to generate our own resources of water and not have to deal with the boil water notices that are coming up more and more, because our existing water pipeline is sometimes 50 years old, if not 100, and our electrical lines are now over 100 years old.
This is insane, Adam. I mean, so this is not only just because it's emerging technology. There's also a heavy need here from hearing what you're talking about now in terms of like old pipes, electric grid is old. I have to ask a simple question here, because I also think we live in the Pacific Northwest. We got a lot of clouds. People say there's not enough sun here. And so I know that we have a lot of wind power and water power kind of sources that are here, state ran, all of that, right? But people are like, I don't know about solar. I don't know if we can do it here. Tell us more about that. Demystify it for us.
Yeah, a lot of people think solar can't work in Washington because of the clouds. But one of the key factors is that Germany is one of the highest users of solar panels in the world, and they have the same climate that Washington does. So in fact, one of the things that people don't know is, we all know that solar panels work by the light shining directly on the solar panels and then creating electricity. But when it's a sunny day, that light has to move directly and hit the panels. On a cloudy day, that light actually goes through the clouds and bounces around. And that gives a whole bunch of different angles that that light hits and has the opportunity to hit the panels. So we can produce solar, and it's not deterred by clouds.
Wow.
But shading is a factor. So if you have large trees, that lowers your opportunity to generate actual solar energy. But it does work here in Washington, and that's what we're kind of showcasing at the garden is we can generate our own energy even in this climate. And if you are in California or Ghana, it gets to be even a better opportunity.
Well, this is, we're going to have to bring you back because there's so much y'all are doing. I want to give you time to actually tell folks what they can expect at the Burien Solar Punk Festival. Before I let you go, just let folks know, like, what kind of things are there? Why should they be there?
It's going to be an awesome time. The Solar Punk Festival is a festival, like we talked about, that happens in the middle of the urban garden. We're producing all of these resources, and we're going to show people what we can do with our own power. So we start the day off with a pop-up farmers market and have different green businesses like Sphere Solar Energy, like Biofibers, who makes building material out of hemp and plant material, and they're a BIPOC-owned organization as well. And then we move into a Green Jobs Expo where we invite some green job speakers to tell you about their business, some of the opportunities coming up. Then we're going to host a mini jobs fair for those who are trying to enter into the green space and have you have a direct pipeline and opportunity to speak with some of these businesses who are hiring. And then we move into a music festival where we actually have rent an LED wall stage and had a rock karaoke last time with a live band doing karaoke, and had a featured artist, David Harris, who works with the organization Scary Pocket and does his own work as our featured artist of last year. And then we ended the night with a movie, and we played the first year we did Black Panther, and all of that runs off the renewable energy. So it's a complete green event. And so we're not just trying to show a good time. We obviously have food trucks and great food there, but we're trying to show the mixture of art, culture, people, and technology, and that all of it can happen simultaneously. And that's what solar punk is.
Well, this is amazing, and you got a lot going on. We didn't even get to talk about some of your other projects, so we'll definitely have you come back. But, if folks are wanting to connect, maybe learn more, figure out how they can maybe enter into the green tech world, I want you to look right there. Let folks know how they tap in with you.
You can find Qtech Labs at www.qtechlabs.org, and you can look up the Burien Solar Punk Festival at the BurienSolarPunkFestival.org. And you can learn both about those different opportunities that we have in the green workforce and this event, and which is what solar is.
Oh, thank you so much for your work. Thank you for bringing the community along this journey. It is so necessary for us to be in sync with all the things that are happening so we don't get left behind. Really, thank you so much for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, y'all, what a great start to the week. I'm telling you, that was empowering. I felt like the solar energy was empowering me up in the room today. But honestly, y'all, it's really exciting to know that we got folks like Adam on the ground doing this amazing work. We got somebody else who's on the ground doing amazing work. And up next, we got Heru TchaasAmen in the building with another Mindfulness Monday segment. Y'all don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Let's start the show.
Big Tobacco thinks they know everything. They think they know you, your community, the places you go, the way that you spend your time. They think they got you all figured out, down to a formula, a calculation based off of numbers of what they think they know. Show them they're wrong. Learn more at theythinktheyknowyou.org.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client, discussing their fields, and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. I'll see you guys in a few.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now, we got another Mindfulness Monday segment for you with Heru TchaasAmen. Hi, Heru.
Peace, Trae. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
You know, I'm loving life. I'm diviner and diviner every day.
Yeah, well, this is really exciting because these Mindfulness Monday segments have really been helpful to me. And I thought it might be great to dive into some of those continued benefits of Qigong. We've talked about Qigong a bit. You know, a lot of folks are just still getting used to what Qigong is and the opportunities of Qigong. But I wanted to dive in a little deeper today and talk about some of those long-lasting benefits of Qigong. If you've been practicing for some time, what kind of effects does that have on the body? Tell us more.
One of my favorite effects that it has on the body is an increased immune system, right? It staves off illness that's related to fatigue and stress-related functions or just dealing with day-to-day interactions with people and things like that. We have to boost our immune system, right? We don't want to get sick. It keeps us in the workplace, so it's good for employers. They're happy about people who practice Qigong and meditation, but it increases your immune system. So it turns on the functions of the body that allow you to fight off anything that wants to attack it, which is wonderful.
Yeah, I didn't know that, you know, right? I think about it in terms of, okay, this is good for the blood flow of my body, the energy of my body, but I didn't realize the immune effects. What are some of the other things that I may be dealing with as I do Qigong more and more?
Well, stress relief, right? Which also benefits the immune system. So stress relief overall, we see that most people who have illnesses they're related to stress anyways. So we see a stress reduction or relief related to Qigong. You learn how to really interact with your natural state of being, right? And so you really start to go, oh, yeah, I'm not stressed at all. I don't feel stress. These things can't harm me. You know, these outside activities and things like that aren't released into my, or aren't generally activated inside of my body, right? So I'm not feeling the cortisol releases. I'm not feeling the adrenaline releases. I'm not feeling the fight or flight stuff like that. So I'm not seeing the body break down in age, you know, which was really important.
Well, you know, when we talk about fight or flight, when it's engaged too often, there's negative impacts of it.
For sure.
And that's really where I think a lot of people who are, you know, absorbing a lot of stress or think they're in a stressful environment, that's where their body's at. It's like always on a go.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about here. So that's interesting because being able to slow down, which I think Qigong for me has really been like, hey, just slow it down. Has really been beneficial to me. But there's also some releases I think that are happening within my body that aid me in other ways. What are some of those other ways?
You know, no one wants to get old, right? You know, I've been trying to fight this gray hair for a long time. So far, unsuccessfully, I stopped using Just for Men. But one of the benefits of Qigong and meditation practice is anti-aging, right? When you say a little bit of stress is okay, or fight response is a little bit or too much of it, not enough of it, or a little bit is okay, it's not okay. None of it's okay. When are we ever in an actual fight or flight situation? Right? When is someone actually trying to kill us? Right? When is there actually a dog, like a monster trying to under our bed or whatever? Typically it's never, right? It's very, very minimal. So the release of, you know, serotonin in the bloodstream related to meditation, related to Qigong, actually heals the body. It lubricates the joints, right? It fights against aging. So it keeps us young. It keeps us vibrant. It keeps us healthy. It keeps us, able to move, which is super important as we age, right? So the fountain of youth, people have been looking for it for hundreds of years. The fountain of youth is found in Qigong. Stand in Wuji for a few minutes with me every week, and you'll see what happens.
Wow. Okay, so I'm getting this because for me, as soon as I did it, it was interesting because I could feel, especially this move right here. You know, we pour the chi down, y'all. And I'm telling you, every time I'm like, whoo, my body feels something coming down, right? But I also think that there's things that when we talk about our brain absorbing so much of this, how is this impacting the brain?
Well, we have devices that we're attracted to or attached to all day. Our phones, our iPads, our laptops, computer screens. People are looking right now and watching on a device, which we want them to do, obviously. But what those devices have been known to do is decrease our concentration, our ability to concentrate for long terms. what meditation and Qigong does, it allows us to increase our ability to concentrate, our ability to focus, right? So our brain now becomes wired in a way that we can stay focused on one specific task for an extended period of time, so we can accomplish, the goal of that task, right? We can problem solve a lot better. We start to be able to create more. We start to change the way that we communicate in our brain as well. So our negative self-talk dissipates, right? We begin to affirm positive beliefs, attitudes, and actions, which obviously manifest in our lives. So our brain also just literally changes in its density, right? So our prefrontal cortex becomes more fired up and more aware, which is where the true self resides. So your self-image, for instance, right? We see a lot of people that are dealing with low self-image, like, I can't do that, I'm super shy, I'm very apprehensive, I'm super anxious, those types of things. But if we have a good concept of who and what we are in our prefrontal cortex and can hold on to that and visualize that over time, we start identifying as that, right? And this is where that long-term memory is held, that future learning is held, right? This is what our brain was wired for. And it allows us to transcend being controlled by the lower nature, right? Our broken emotions, right? Our negative emotions and negative experiences, those traumas that we've experienced in our lives. It allows us to disconnect from those things, to actually heal from those things, move on to something that's a better perception of what we are, right? And to express that to the world so we can actually, spiritually, emotionally, mentally evolve finally.
Wow. I mean, you're talking about memory loss. So, does this impact Alzheimer's or dementia? Or, when you talk about memory, it strikes that for me.
Definitely. It promotes brain health all around, right? Just like doing a crossword puzzle and starting to read more, doing puzzles and things like that help the motor skills and helps the brain function. Qigong and meditation also do that. It staves off, some of those diseases that are associated with aging and those brain diseases that are associated with aging as well. Central nervous system diseases also. So because we're reprogramming the central nervous system to stay calm. It's not firing off all the time. So we're not seeing that fight or flight response that overstimulates the central nervous system and causes us, issues. It also even lowers the blood pressure, which keeps us from having, things like high blood pressure, obviously, right? But heart issues that are associated with that. And if we look at Black and brown people, we have an elevated propensity to stroke and heart problems and things like that. So the blood pressure needs to be monitored, needs to be taken down. It's not just about our diet. It's not just about how we live our lives. It's also how we medicate through meditation. We medicate through meditation with Qigong.
Medicate through meditate. Oh, I love it. Well, as always, Heru, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for bringing your brilliance to the Day with Trae so we can educate the folks on all of these great benefits of Qigong and the great work you're doing out there. Of course, I know you got the Qigong. Let them know how they tap in so that they can experience the longevity of these benefits.
As usual, the best way to tap in with me is on Instagram. Check in at Heru Nefer, HERUNEFER. My bio, click the bio. First of all, follow me, click the bio, and you'll find ways to book with me. We can get a 15-minute session, find out and analyze exactly where you are, and generate a prescriptive Qigong practice for you.
Wow. Personalized Qigong.
Oh yeah, we're stepping it up.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for being here. Always a pleasure.
Always a blessing to be here. So good to see you.
You too. Wow, y'all. I'm telling you, here we go. Mindfulness Monday. What a jam-packed Monday it felt like, because we got some great information. I'm going to wrap it all up right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Disenrollment is a situation whereby people whose birthright to be indigenous is being stolen from them by politicians that have been elected to lead.
Today, the latest or last chapter of the saga concerns the threatened physical ejectment of as many as 21 Nooksack families from their homes.
I think it's come about by hatred for our family. That's what it's all about.
Our bloodline is still here. They can't get rid of us.
Here on Back to Basa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region, and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Basa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Seattle really is just a big neighborhood. It was a place for us to grow.
We all have a gift of some sort. It's just my vision of what I see. theater allows you to hit harder and be more. There's a sense of hope that your story will survive longer than you will.
Stream on the Cascade PBS app or watch live. Fridays at 8:50 p.m. on Cascade PBS. Learn more at blackartslegacies.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. What an amazing way to start the week. Huge shout out to my guest, Adam Powers with Qigong Labs. Of course, there are some phenomenal things that whole organization is doing. You want to tap in at qigonglabs.org. Also, look out for the Burien Solar Punk Festival, okay? This is where you can really learn more about some of the great work they're doing right there at the farm that has the micro solar panels, teaching the community about the importance of us being connected to these green tech industry that is really booming right now. So please make sure y'all tap in there. And of course, always a huge shout out to our Mindfulness Monday guru, Heru TchaasAmen, for shedding some light on those long-term benefits of Qigong. And if you're looking to get booked with him or get to these Qigong lessons, please make sure you tap in with him on Instagram at Heru TchaasAmen. Y'all, I want to thank you so much for starting your week off with The Day with Trae and with me, Trae Holiday. I also got to give a huge shout out to Deontay Damper for holding down the fort last week. I actually took a vacation, y'all, believe it or not. So I'm so glad that he was able to be here and guide y'all through the week on The Day with Trae with some amazing guests. He has some great outfits too. I saw you, Deontay, doing your thing. I want to thank y'all so much for being a part of this community on The Day with Trae. And if you're digging what we're doing, please continue to share the stream. And if there's somebody in your life that needs to be here sharing their story because they're doing great work in your community, please reach out to The Day with Trae at whereweconverge.com, and we will be sure to make sure we get them in the schedule because it's all about shedding light on all the brilliant things happening around us. Thanks so much for watching today, and for me, y'all, until tomorrow at 11 a.m. Peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.